So this is my alternator out of my 97 Chevy C3500 dually. It has a 454. I took it out because I was going to put a different fan blade on it than what's on this one. This fan blade and pulley is actually off this one, but the fan blade and pulley off this red alternator is this one. So it's like I figured if we're going to take this alternator off and put this on, that I should at least go through the alternator, make sure everything's okay and up to par. So as right there, the rectifier, the brushes, the voltage regulator, the bridge, and all that is all new. As a 144 voltage regulator. And then you got the rotor, you got the stator. I cleaned up the rotor, polished up the shaft, polished up the copper there, and then the part where the bearing rides on. And then I cleaned up the stator. This had a black coating on it. It was falling off. In fact, I went to clean this with electrical cleaner and coating started falling off. So I stripped it all off with wire wheel, brass wire wheel, and cleaned it up really good and painted it with a little bit of the self-etching primer. And then after all that was said and done, I went over it with the universal silver metallic. And that's what's on that right now. And then here we got the front half and the rear half. That is a new bearing in there. I did knock out its old one. Do I still have that in here? Somewhere. And so there's that. The Sam hell did I do with that bearing? Did I take off? Probably. Anyway, so on this bearing was got the red. The older one had black on it, and I can't seem to find it at all. This is the rear bearing. Really had to hit like hell to get this thing out. So there it is. Right there. Rear bearing. Both housings were cleaned up really well. So I did this little thing here to that red one. I rebuilt that alternator a couple of years ago, about, well, I would say 3 or 4 years ago now. And it has a 200 amp stator in it. And brushes and all that good stuff in there. Since I haven't been able to sell it, I might as well just steal this pulley and put it on my truck. And put my trucks on it. So that was the in and out of that. So, yeah, they've been both painted with Dup-li-Color Enamel. I used to use the Rust-O-Leum gloss black, but I got sick and tired of how that paint turned out every time I got done using it. So, and then the Dup-li-Color, I used to use it before the Rust-O-Leum, and I stopped using it because it seemed like you use a whole lot more paint just to get a glossy finish. and I got sick and tired of that. And then I went to Rust-O-Leum, black, and it had a really high gloss. It looked really, really good after it was done. And then they switched it all over, put new buttons on, and I swear they must have changed the formula, how they made the paint, because it goes on, and then all of a sudden you get this rainbow-like hue in the paint after it's dried. So there's no gloss to it. It just goes to crap. So that's that storyline on that. Anyway, so yeah, new rectifier, new brushes, new voltage regulator, new bridge, new insulator. And so as soon as, so I just had painted this one today. I primered it yesterday, painted it today. I still need to go do some final, I don't know, touch-ups or touches. What the hell you call it? Detailing. Because when I take the tape off, you got little sharp edges where the tape and the paint are. So I go and I take some very fine sandpaper, and I sand that down to kind of cut it in on both sides. I do this on everything I do, and so it looks cleaner and more professionally done than just sloppy. I did paint this black yesterday. I primered it the day before, and I had already did the cutting. When I took the tape off of these, it had the same thing, kind of a jagged line, edge, whatever you want to call it. And I took some fine sandpaper, cut it down, took a little bit of Scotch-Brite to polish it up. So I'll be doing the same thing to this after this paint is fully cured. So probably not tomorrow, but most likely, well, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll do it. Because I think I painted this around 6 o'clock tonight. That's when I painted it black. So, and then I cleaned these off too, because if for some reason this gets used for a different engine and it needs this hole instead of this hole, because on my truck it requires this one. But if I ever have to use this for something else and it requires this hole, it's already the same way. So I really think that looks neat, the black and the shiny together. Really looks nice. And this thing is going to be downright, just, I don't know how to really explain it. Kind of like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, not oh my gosh, but hell, I don't know what to say. With this fan blade on, with this completely back together, rebuilt and everything, put the fan blade on, it would just be so, beautiful, or extremely cool, extremely awesome, whatever I'm trying to say. So, so this alternator I bought remanufactured from O'Reilly out of Price, Utah. And it was manufactured or something like that in Mexico. You know, it had that little freaking tag on there and everything. So I ripped that off, and then I ripped another sticker off, something to do with the model, which I have no idea where that is, and I'm not putting it back on here. I just think that looked kind of dumb, I guess you'd call it. So just wait for these two parts to be done, then I can start reassembling it, putting it back together. Put our new parts in there. This bearing already has grease in it, so there's no big deal on that. I don't know what it's called, but it's like that. Let me turn this on so I can see what I can do. Okay, a little brown plastic thing down in there. I don't know if you can see it. Like straight down. Let me get something to use as a pointer. Pointer. Okay, so that right there. Little brown piece of plastic. The brushes goes inside that, so I'm calling it kind of like a brush cup or something. I had to reinstall that because when I took this apart, it fell out. It was glued in, but it fell out along with that piece of plastic that is behind. Yeah, it's right here inside. I had to put it back on. Didn't know what to use to put it back on, so I grabbed blue thread lock and put it. I cleaned out the bottom of it to clean out the old glue and roughed it up with some 180 sandpaper to give it a little bit of grit. Put some blue thread lock on there, blew on it a little bit just to kind of get it a little tacky. Slapped it in there, and got a little tab right there. That's part of it to hold it in there. Both parts were glued, and it has stayed in there so far. I do apologize the way I talk. It's my medical condition I have kind of makes it hard to talk or talk straight or whatever. Anywho, rambling on here, but I mean, you can really imagine. Oh, that's gonna look sweet. And then you put that part on there. Wish I could put these two parts together just to. Oh wow. Of course, this got to be closer to the housing, but I don't want to scratch the paint. That is going to look so damn awesome. Chrome on black. You can never go wrong with chrome on black. Or black on chrome. However, put this back up out of the way. That pulley system, I think it's a billet aluminum. The fan end, pulley, and the cover is all the same material. So, I was entertaining the thought of repainting that fan blade and that pulley. I might do the pulley kind of in the same red color. I'm just not too sure about the fan blade. I was thinking about doing the universal silver metallic on there, but how ridiculous that would look. Ridiculous and make it too many freaking colors. Who knows? Maybe I'll just paint that fan blade black. It was black to begin with, but it was falling off. The paint was. So maybe I'll just do that again. Paint it the fan blade black, the pulley red, and just go with that kind of look. So I'm hoping this alternator works right after I put it back on. I mean, the voltage regulator is the self-exciting voltage regulator, so it should work right out the bat, right after you start the vehicle up and everything, get the motor going at a high idle. It should just kick right on. So, anyway, I guess that will pretty much cover this situation. After I get this built, I'm going to put it back on my truck, but I need it out of the way for right now because I'm taking the intake manifold off to install a new intake manifold gasket and a new plenum gasket, because my intake manifold gasket is leaking towards the front corner of the intake manifold, right above that little attachment that goes into the intake manifold for the heater core. I'm getting rid of that damn thing. It's got like a really small hole in the center. I just feel that's really restricting a lot of good flow, so I'm going a different route with that. Give you guys a look around on these. Really quick. So it's going to be one awesome alternator. Anyway, I am done talking everybody's heads off. So thank you for watching.